family member. Joining us to make sense of this is attorney Carmen Rowe. What does this mean for Terry Thompson? Does it look bad when you have the jurors here, and even before they're impaneled, they know now that he was kicked out of the Navy for felony drug use?
Well, and let's be clear, there's 2 pages of allegations, and they're just that, allegations, until they're proven. But is it damning going forward? Absolutely. Is it going to create problems for this trial? Definitely. And the most important thing I think that everybody needs to know is that none of this appears to have been used in the first trial at all. So it paints a markedly different picture of Terry Thompson for a jury that couldn't decide whether or not he was guilty or innocent in this case. And I think this is the kind of thing that'll tip the scales for the state.
And of course, you mentioned that there is a new prosecutor who's handling this case. Tell us a little bit about that person and their history.
Absolutely. Most important change in this case is that we now have a very aggressive career prosecutor, one of the most talented in the office, who has a penchant for drama. He's the same prosecutor who tried the stiletto murder case, who got on top of a table and demonstrated for the jury with a stiletto shoe exactly how that murder occurred. So I think in the next couple of weeks as we start this trial, we're going to see a very different trial go underway with a very aggressive, talented prosecutor at the helm.
And do those type of theatrics in the courtroom actually sway a jury?
Absolutely. I mean, it is a drama, and it is unfolding when you have characters in that drama replaying the events. And in this case, you see the video, and that's dramatic enough. But when you have a really talented prosecutor who can add to that a background, a narrative about this particular defendant that tends to suggest that it's consistent with prior behavior, I think you turn it up a notch.
If they're able to get his history kicked out or what happened in the Navy, is it too late? Is the damage already done?
Well, and one of the things that people are suggesting is that it was improper to put this out there. Obviously, it's never good to put things out into the public that might taint a jury pool.
Right.
But at the same time, the 404B notice is something that's required by law. It's filed with the clerk, and it's not under seal. And so it's not privileged information. And so it is just that, an allegation, and that's exactly what this jury will be told, is that only if you find that this is true should you consider it as regards his conduct in this case.
Could the defense successfully argue for a change of venue as a result of this?
No. And I don't think that's even something that's in their scope at this point. I mean, this trial is gearing up, and it's going to start in 2 weeks. And so they're ready to go. And on a retrial like this, a lot of people think that, the deck is stacked against the state. But I think with this new prosecutor and with these 2 pages of extraneouses and prior bad acts, I think that they are in a much better position than they were the first time.
What do you think occurred in the last trial where the jury could not make a decision? Were both sides that good, both compelling? What happened, do you think?
I didn't sit through the whole trial, and so it's hard for me to armchair quarterback, even if I had sat through the whole trial. But, I think there's no question this is a difficult case because of the players involved. Some people would say it was about race. Some people would say it was about, law enforcement versus a regular individual. Some people would say it was about the victim's bad behavior that night, which is, again, why these 2 pages of bad behavior tend to play in favor of the state when you start looking at the balance of these 2 individuals.
So you're looking at the video, Carmen, and you see the guy on top of him. Do you think the charge was wrong? Should it have been manslaughter, where your reckless behavior caused a death, instead of just murder?
A lot of people have gone back and forth on that. I think that the state did the right thing to charge it as murder and then give a lesser included offense to the jury. If they think that it's manslaughter, they have the right to find him guilty of manslaughter only instead of murder. But in this case, to me, the video is difficult to get past. And when you look at these 2 pages, it's consistent with what you see in that video, which is a man that's angry and out of control. And that's why I think it's so problematic going into this trial.
All right, Carmen Rowe, thank you for joining us here on The Factor Uncensored. Stay on the